Welcome to reality. You're now on the Code of Mind channel. I don't know if you've heard this, but in my childhood the same phrases kept repeating. Money is evil. You can't earn it honestly. We never lived rich, and there's no point starting now. The main thing is stability. First work, then dreams. Have you heard that? And you don't even notice how it all sinks into you, like splinters in the subconscious. You think you're living your own life, but every time a desire for something bigger rises inside you, it's like someone whispers, "Not allowed. Not deserved. Don't you dare." That's not your voice. That's programming. That's a system built long before you were born. It runs on a script. Keep the masses at the level of control that's needed. And what's most interesting is this. In that system, the fear of poverty is used as a tool of control. Instead of telling you about possibilities, they tell you about dangers. Instead of inspiration, shame. Instead of growth, reproach. Who do you think you are? Where are you going? Who needs you? And you don't notice how you start being afraid of your own desires. And that's scarier than any prison, because you're no longer in a cage. You are the cage. You guard yourself from your own freedom. You extinguish your own spark because a "don't stand out" button was installed inside you. But you know what's most interesting? This can be erased. These programs aren't forever. They aren't yours. You can rewrite your script. And it starts with one simple question. Who told me that? And why? We often say, I would leave, but I don't have money. I would start my own thing, but I'm scared. How will I pay rent? I would move away, but who am I without stability? Sound familiar? Money stopped being just a resource. It became a reason to change nothing. A reason to stay next to someone you no longer love. A reason to go to a job you hate. A reason to wake up with heaviness in your chest, yet pretend everything is fine. That's not life. That's dependence. And this was planted in us from childhood, especially in women. They were told, the main thing is to find a man with money. He earns, he decides. And so you sit in a beautiful cage with a lake view, and inside, there's emptiness. Men were programmed differently. You must provide. If you can't, you're nobody. And so you fight, you burn out, you stay silent, not because you want to, but because you're afraid of being unwanted. Now pay attention. In neither of these scripts is the real you. None of them are about joy, the soul, or freedom. These are matrix scripts because it's convenient for the system if you don't know you can live differently. Because if you become free, you stop being controllable. And that's not scary to you, that's scary to the system. Have you noticed how we were taught to love the pretty wrapper, but forget what's inside? From childhood we were shown, wealth is gold, cars, mansions, status, power, respect. A glossy world where everyone smiles, but there's emptiness inside. No one told us that wealth is the ability to choose. It's silence in your head. It's waking up and knowing you can go where your soul pulls you, not where bills and obligations push you. We were not taught that real wealth is the ability to be yourself, the ability to say no, the ability to say yes to yourself. It's free time, it's energy. It's being with the people you truly love. It's health you can't buy. It's inspiration that isn't for sale. The Matrix swapped the meanings. It said, if you want to be happy, first earn it. First give everything. Your youth, your strength, your health, your nerves. And then maybe, if there's time left, they'll return a little. But that's a lie. No one will give you what's yours. Until you decide, I choose wealth. Real, personal, deep. And it's not in a bank, it's in me. Have you ever found it strange that in school they taught us integrals and quadratic equations, but never explained how credit works, what an asset and a liability are, why you can't work only for money? That's not an accident. Society was built so you would always understand just a little too little, always be slightly short, always remain in debt, to the state, the bank, the system, the employer. When you don't understand money, you're dependent. You go to a job you don't love, you stay in toxic relationships. You're afraid to speak the truth. Because one question runs your whole mind. How will I live? The Matrix doesn't hold us with chains. It holds us with ignorance. Knowledge about money is freedom. Knowledge about money is power. It's not just numbers. It's energy. When you understand that money is a flow, not a punishment, not evil, you stop being a pawn. You become a player. You begin to see how money is attracted to a state, to intention, to the value you carry. But the Matrix doesn't need a conscious person with resources. The Matrix needs batteries. And you're not a battery. You're a source. Why were you trained to feel needing? Not just poor, not just unsuccessful, but needing. That's a special role. It gives you a specific mask. Guilty, modest, quiet. You feel uncomfortable asking. You're ashamed to speak about desires. You're afraid of being called greedy. But tell me honestly, were you born into that role, or were you placed into it? You were a child who wanted everything. You could dream, ask, desire, without fear. But at some point they started explaining, it's expensive. We can't afford it. If you want too much, you'll be bad. And so you grew up. Inside an adult body lives a needing child. He dreams, but he's afraid. He wants, but he's ashamed. He could, but he doesn't allow himself. And now the most disturbing part. The system knows it's easier to control someone who needs. He doesn't rebel, he agrees. He's grateful for crumbs because he forgot he was made to be a king, not a servant. So who are you without need? If tomorrow the I need program disappears, if you wake up in the body of someone who owes nothing and depends on no one, what do? That's where you must look. They repeated to you, don't touch. Don't take. You can't. This is for adults. This isn't for us. Those words seemed harmless, but they became invisible programming. Now, even as an adult, you whisper to yourself, I can't. You look at a beautiful house and your first thought is, that's not for me. You see a free, happy person and inside, I can't live like that. You don't even have time to desire, because the prohibition is already playing in your mind. And that is not your soul. That is an old program. The I can't program is the main break of your reality. With it, you're like a bird with clipped wings. You can fly, but not above the fence. But here's what matters. You were not born with this. You were a child who wanted everything. You asked, you dreamed, you reached your hands toward the sun. You were alive. You were free. Which means you can bring it back. Erasing the I can't program starts with one simple action. Catch the moment of the internal prohibition. Every time you say inside, that's not for me, stop. Don't attack yourself, just ask. Who said that? If you can't find the author of that phrase, then it's not yours. It's someone else's. And what's someone else's can be returned. Say mentally, I return this. I'm allowed. And start small. Allow yourself to buy a small thing you've dreamed about for a long time. Allow yourself to rest without guilt. Allow yourself to say no where you're being used. Every time you choose I'm allowed, you rip out a piece of the old programming. You're not just saying words, you're changing the matrix code, and one day you'll catch yourself looking at your dream and thinking, not I can't, but why not? And in that moment, your reality will begin to reconfigure. Sit comfortably, put the phone aside, close your eyes. Take one breath, slowly, as if you're allowing yourself to breathe for the first time. Remember a moment when you wanted something very much, but you didn't allow yourself, not because you couldn't, but because you didn't give yourself permission. Remember that feeling. Where is it in the body? Maybe in the chest, like heaviness, or in the throat, like a lump, maybe in the solar plexus, like a clamp. Feel it. Don't run from it. That is the programming. That is the I can't program. Now slowly say out loud or inside, I see you. I know where you came from. You are not mine. You are an old system. You are the voice of other people's fears, other people's rules, but I no longer live by other people's rules. From this moment, I'm allowed. Place your hand where you felt the tightness and whisper, I'm allowed to live. I'm allowed to want. I'm allowed to be. I'm allowed to be free. I'm allowed to be myself. Take a breath. And as you exhale, imagine the old program leaving you into the light, as if someone gently removes an old shell. And underneath it is you, real. Now do one action you didn't allow yourself before. Any action. Even a sip of an expensive coffee with the words, I deserve it. I'm allowed. That will be the activation point. A small step, but a massive hack. And if someone nearby says again, that's not for you, just smile and say, you're late. I already gave myself permission. Thank you for being here, for listening, feeling, thinking, for staying to the end because it's not easy. I feel that we're not speaking through a screen. We're speaking soul to soul. And if you can hear this, it means we're on the same frequency. It matters to me that you exist, that you don't just pass by, that you are part of something bigger. I don't know your story, but I know one thing for sure. There is enormous power inside you. The power to remember, the power to change, the power to create a new reality. Let these words be not just text, but a point of support, a lighthouse when it gets dark. Thank you. You are not a spectator. You are a creator. Until the next meeting, I'm always here. In voice, in text, in the silence between the lines. You are needed. You are important. You are not alone. Thanks for being here on the channel. See you in the next video. Bye, everyone.